Hello, hello, hello. My name is at JDon'tFade, Jason Malloy on Twitter, as you can see down here in the screensaver background. At JDon'tFade on Twitter, give us a follow here. This is Backdoor Bills Talk. We are coming to you this week. It is week 3, Bills at Baltimore Ravens. It's a hard one for me. I'm a diehard Orioles fan. So a lot of my Orioles friends do not like me so much this week because I'm a Bills fan. So there's that too. And I want to welcome somebody on. We're going to have somebody on the show tonight, and he's going to be joining us here for a while. And his name is Sonny, and he's going to let him introduce himself to you. Sonny, why don't you go ahead and tell him a little about yourself?
I'm Sonny. I'm from Alaska. I'm a diehard Bills fan. I've been a Bills fan since I was 4 years old, and I'm happy to be a part of this podcast and talk Bills football, and looking forward to a good game tomorrow. So it's nice to meet you guys. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we'll get rolling right into it, okay? So we're going to cover a couple different things today. We're going to talk about what we think both the offense for the Ravens and Bills are going to do in our first segment. Our second segment will be defensive predictions. And so we're going to dive into kind of what the defense looks like. People are used to the Ravens having a really hardcore defense, and that's not so much the case this year. It's been a thing the last 20 years. You've had players like Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, many great others, CJ Mosley, Bowser. There's been a ton of different, and that's just a couple names, a ton of great names that have been associated with Chris McAllister, too, another great cornerback from years ago. And even now, Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, newly drafted safety Kyle Hamilton from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. But not so much this year. We'll talk about that more in a bit. But the third segment, that's going to be injury reports, because there's a lot going on injury-wise this year with the Bills and with the Ravens. They're getting healthier to an extent. So that being said, we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about it because it needs to be talked about, and it definitely affects the matchup. So what we've got going on other than that, of course, at the end, you guys know I like doing a little bit of betting. We'll give some betting picks and what I like and what I don't like so much. Probably not so much what I don't like. That's irrelevant when we're trying to win money. But what I do like, of course, and we'll chime in on that. And, of course, we'll give our predictions on the score and who wins the game between the Bills and Ravens tomorrow at 1 p.m. Just over 12 hours. I guess more than that. We're probably more like 16, 17 hours from kickoff here. And tomorrow we get early kickoff. Of course, I will be at baseball practice because I play baseball. However, tomorrow there'll be early morning kickoff in London, I believe it is, 9:30 between the Saints and probably another relevant team that I'm forgetting of at this point. But the Saints are playing at 9:30, so make sure you set your That's another thing. Make sure you set your fantasy lineups early. I'd probably set them tonight, but of course you're not going to know the outs. Michael Thomas is out, if you're wondering. I have him, so I know. Everybody else I know so far is a full go. So we'll see what happens tomorrow in London. Make sure you set your lineups tonight or early in the morning before 9:30, because after that it'll lock and you'll be screwed. So we're going to jump right on in. Offensive predictions for the Bills and the Ravens. So I'll talk a bit about what I think. And what I think with the offensive predictions is I think that we're going to see, I don't want to say an angry Josh Allen, but I want to say a focused, concentrated, relaxed Josh Allen. The weather's not getting any better tomorrow. Of course, I will definitely take the weather we're going to have tomorrow over what the forecast was we'll take the forecast tomorrow over what weather we had in Miami, and the weather we had in Miami was terrible. Terrible in the sense that, yes, it was bright, shining, beautiful, but it was also like 110 degrees. And you saw that after every play, especially towards the end of the game. Mike, I'm saying what's up to Sunny. That's good. Awesome. Good to hear. Prediction here. Bill, before I jump any further, Bills 63, Ravens 0. I would hope, Bill's Godfather, that's true. I just don't see that happening. Would I love to be wrong there? Of course I would. However, so offensive predictions, Josh Allen. I'm interested to see what we're going to see from the running back room as I have been every single week since the first week. The first week I would have told you that Devin Singletary was the main go-to guy, number one. In week 3 now, I'm sorry, I keep saying week 3. In week 4, I don't see that being the case anymore. It's kind of it's a true running back by committee, and I say to a fault. Uh, I don't know so much that it's not. It hasn't terribly affected us, right? Like the running back indecision, really, by Coach McDermott and probably the running backs coach I'm sure is chiming in, but they're like I don't want to say total unawareness, but their lack of decision making when it comes to using Zach Moss is really challenging. It's frustrating and it's curious because Zach Moss is he's awful. He's not a good running back. He's just not a good running back. Maybe it's just our scheme. Maybe if he's on a true north-south where they only need to pick up 2 or 3 yards and he's going to get a ton of carries doing 2 or 3 yards and they're going to do whatever they do, that's totally fine. He is just not the guy for this offense. Devin Singletary, James Cook more is. James Cook, I have concerns with the size and just, I don't want to say the ability. He's like a Cadillac, but he's also a Cadillac that if he gets a scratch, it might put him out for a week or two. That's because of his size. Devin Singletary, in my opinion, has been the number one running back since we drafted him. He should still be the number one running back. I think we wasted 2 picks in taking both James Cook and Zach Moss especially. James Cook could still be useful, but Devin Singletary has performed since we've had him since the beginning, since year 1, and every time he gets any amount of normal touches, anything over the share of 65 to 70%, he kills it, tears it up. It's averaging over 4 yards for a carry, 4 yards per carry, on the ground since he's been drafted. Through the air, he's not a crazy weapon with the receiving, but I think people only think that because they don't use him a lot in the receiving game. I think he has ability in the receiving game. Pass blocking could be better. That's where they probably thought that Zach Moss would come in with the traditional north-south running back and pass blocking. I haven't seen that materialize yet. Pass blocking, he's been fine, but that's pretty much it. That's not enough to keep you on the field in this offense. Maybe in another offense, yes, truly for pass blocking, but not in this offense. Not as high octane as it is. I see Mike saying the old K-gun style ground and pound. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what he would be utilized for. I just don't see us utilizing that all that often. At least we don't anymore. Maybe we will at some point. I think, but also I don't want to say that either. I know. Here we go. Moss had the best run last week. Singletary is a monster, though. Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing. I was actually texting Tommy, who runs our network here, brand, I guess I would say, and channel. Either way, Tommy, and we were talking about how like Moss got that one big run, and like he had one big run in the game prior, I believe, and it fixed his average for like the game. And it's like, that's so misleading because if you take that one, I talked about it in the last show. If you take that one run out, it's not anywhere near what you would want it to be. It's somewhere in the high ones, very low twos, which is not what you want. That's 3. You give him 3. You give him the ball. That's the way you look at the average. You give him the ball 3 times, he's not getting your first down. You give Devin Singletary the ball 3 times, he's getting your first down and more. So that's the way that I look at it. I think tomorrow, though, we can expect a lot of passing, even in the rain, because Allen's got a rocket. Stephon Diggs has got hands, and I think that's gonna go in our favor. Stephon Diggs is gonna love playing the Ravens. He always does love playing the Ravens because the Ravens passed up on him. He is a Washington, or I guess I would say, I'm probably gonna say this wrong, but like a DBW. I think that's wrong. But the Washington D.C. Baltimore area is kind of one big area, and I frequent there, of course, because I'm a big Orioles fan. So I go there to Camden Yards, most beautiful ballpark in all of baseball and maybe the world, and. Yeah, I mean, it's one big area, in my opinion, because D.C. is like 30, 45 minutes from Baltimore, and Baltimore is 30, 45 minutes from D.C. And he's from that area, through and through, went to Maryland, was a Terrapin. I guess I had heard rumors that he maybe had a private workout set up with the Ravens for the draft. He wanted to be a Raven, grew up a Raven fan, I would imagine, and they passed up on him. And he's got a lot to prove whenever he plays that team, because that's the team he wanted to be on, So I think we expect a big game from them tomorrow, but I also think on the other hand, before we get to Sonny, we're going to let Sonny open up on what he thinks about the Bills' offense predictions and the Ravens' offense predictions. I think Lamar is going to eat. Lamar has been eating every single game regardless of the defense he's played. I think he's going to get a lot of points on the ground, in fantasy, of course. On the ground, I think you can expect him probably to have somewhere between 60 and 70 yards and probably a combined 3 touchdowns, whether it's 2 through the air and 1 on the ground or 2 on the ground, 1 through the air. Lamar's going to eat. He's a good quarterback. He's going to get paid very soon. Whether that's by the Ravens, we are yet to see. But yeah, I expect them to eat. Rashad Bateman's going to have a decent game. J.K. Dobbins is back tomorrow. I don't know what his workload's going to look like, but he is officially back tomorrow and will be active. So I'm not excited because he's playing us, but I am excited in the sense to see what he does and how he is coming back from that injury. I'm sure people have a lot of fantasy stock drafted or drilled into him as well. So I expect a lot of offense tomorrow, basically. Sonny, what do you think about the offense tomorrow for both the Bills and the Ravens?
Well, first off, for the Bills, I think what they need to do in order to be effective against that defense, because there's some holes in the secondary, and I think that Josh Allen, if they can establish the running game right off the bat and just try to get some, just to get a good couple of good runs in there, I think it's a work in progress. I don't know how come our run game has been, Devin has shown some flashes. Moss is, has his moments, but I'm intrigued to see, how James Cook is going to do, but he's a rookie. But I would like to see Singletary, bust a couple of them. That will open up the passing game, play action for Josh Allen, because Josh Allen, I believe, is going to eat that defense alive tomorrow. Yeah, they have always had a solid defense, but they're in the back end, and I think that if Josh Allen can just continue just to do what he does, and the thing that I want to, straight, I think the weapon that he has yet to use, and I would like to see them get going tomorrow, is Dawson Knox. I would like to see him get going, and Jamison Crowder. I think that we're not utilizing him enough, in the slot, because Isaiah McKinney's just doing great, but I would like to see Jamison Crowder get up a big game for us. And offensively, I think we're going to be fine. I think it's going to be a hostile environment, but I think that the Bills have what it takes to do what they got to do offensively against that defense, because it's not very good in the secondary, and they don't get a lot of pressure. So I see Josh. You know, I think what they're going to try to do is try to play Josh Allen the way the Dolphins did, but as far as the offense, I think our offense is going to finally show up and put up a 40-pointer against this defense. But thank you so much. Yeah, and I think as far as the Baltimore Ravens offense, anytime you got a guy like Lamar Jackson who's lethal as they come, especially with his legs, that's a problem. But I think if you look back with the last time the Bills played the Ravens in the playoffs in the divisional round, we really, shut him down. We took his run game away. And I think that's, if it's broke, don't if it's not broke, don't fix it. I think we have to do the same with him tomorrow, approach the game with the game plan the same way, in order to stop him, because he's going to get his reps. Lamar Jackson is a freak athlete, and I think that with his legs, he's dangerous, and he can throw on the run. He's just, he's going to make plays. Both quarterbacks. This is going to be an exciting matchup, but I think Baltimore. Anytime you got a guy like Lamar Jackson, you're going to show out. So, I just hope that we stop him enough times to beat him on the scoreboard, because he's going to get his yeah, we need to force him to be a passer. I agree with that comment. Yeah, we have to force him to pass the ball, and we have a good enough D line that we can make that happen. It's better than we have a better D line than we did back in the playoffs and the division round to play him. So I'm excited. Those are my thoughts about the game. I think the Bills offense, and it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sonny. And I think I agree for a good portion of that. And with Bill's Godfather saying we usually clamp Lamar, we need to force him to pass situation. I think that in previous years that may have worked probably better than it would work tomorrow if we do that. I'm sure that is probably what they're going to try and do, but because obviously you don't want to let Lamar run around. That's kind of where he's going to beat you most of the time. Almost every time with Lamar, with how good he is running, probably be the best running quarterback that we've seen yet. And Lamar has developed as a passer. He also has Rashad Bateman now. And Rashad Bateman is like becoming his guy, besides Mark Andrews, of course. Mark Andrews over the middle, too. And our secondary is fairly depleted. So, we'll jump right into it. And first, I'll address this, and we'll jump in after that fact with the defensive predictions. And Mike James says, was there any credibility to the rumor that the Bills were trying to trade for Saquon Barkley, or was that just Boomer? Let me see here. I missed it. Boomer spewing nonsense. Boomer spewing nonsense. I think that there's a reason that rumor came about. I don't know that there's any real truth to it, of course, but I would say that probably because of, number one, the Bills clearly not showing decisiveness at running back with what their plan is. I don't know if they know what the plan is yet, and they're still trying to work it out. To me, it should be Devin Singletary gets all the carries, other than maybe 20%. And then if you want to give 15% to James Cook, and then most of the pass reps to James Cook, that's fine too. And then Zach Moss should be inactive. That's the way that I see it. Not that he has no redeeming quality, but majority of the times it's just not what we need. But I think the reason that you see that rumor is because of now the familiar with, oh, well, Brian Dable's over there now. So we can link these two teams together to make a rumor, and it'll make a little sense, and it'll get people excited, and Bills Mafia will click on it, and they'll read it, and we'll get views, and then we'll sell advertising dollars, and blah, 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 blah. So I don't know that there's much truth to that. Would it be exciting? Yeah. But I also don't want to know what the Bills would have to go. Because here's the thing. So, like, in previous years, like, you could look at these trades like, oh, the Bills should trade for this, or they should sign this guy, sign this guy. It's not like that anymore. Like now we're starting to become what I define as cap strapped, where every penny matters, every dollar matter, and every pick matters. We have to hit in our picks. So when you have a team like us that has a really high salary cap and has re-signed guys like Dawson Knox and Jordan Poyer's deal's coming back up again, but Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Tre'Davious White, and all your guys are getting re-signed. You're bringing guys, Matt Milano. You start to get high up in the salary cap, and that's the point where it's like, all right, now if we have a hole, we're not going to be able to fill it with a free agent that's going to come in right away that we know is going to work out. Von Miller, another big deal. So that makes your draft picks all that more important. Like a team like the Chiefs, they have to hit on their draft picks, and you're seeing their deficiencies now where they didn't hit on their draft picks. So we need to be a team that keeps those draft picks. And I guess we have them, but we shouldn't be going. I think for Saquon, they're going to want something like a second or a first round pick. He is playing like he was prior to the injury, and he's not injured. He's looking insane. Apex, yes, I agree. We don't have the cap for Saquon. Yeah, to re-sign him for sure. So am I giving up a second or first round pick for a guy that's a rental? Not a chance in hell. I'm not doing that. Not to mention, I don't think that we really need it. It's the same thing with it's the Odell Beckham thing all over again. Like, we don't need Odell Beckham. Now, maybe, yes, with our injuries, it looks a little bit better. Like, yeah, maybe we could use him. But he's a guy that's going to want to get his touches. I'm not going to say he's going to want to surpass Stephon Diggs as the leader of targets in this offense, but he's going to want his touches. And I don't know if they're all there for him. Not to mention, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but like he seems very desperate to be on this team, or really any team, but this team. And that kind of draws back as like a red flag to me. Not that he shouldn't be, of course. He wants to play football, but like that he wants to get back in the game and he wants targets. I just don't know that they're there for him yet. And not to mention, he's not healthy. I don't know when he's coming back. I heard maybe middle of the year. We'll see. Injury he's coming back from. It's going to take some time. Same with Trey White. So we'll have to see what happens at that point. However, jumping into the defensive predictions, my defensive predictions, I think tomorrow's going to be kind of a sloppy mess, and the defense is either going to eat or they're not going to eat. Josh Allen's going to make the defense on the other side look silly regardless of what they're doing. He can win in the long game. He can win the short game, intermediate game. He can win it with his legs. And by doing that, he can set up for us to win through the run game somewhat, at least as much as we need to. Maybe not a whole lot, but as much as we need to. That being said, I think that I don't see either team scoring a ton of points, but I see it being a higher scoring game due to the weather forecast being like rain and just not cold, but warmish 60 to 65 degree rain, which is really Baltimore weather in this time of year. It's slightly warmer than it is up here in Buffalo. It's closer to the equator, of course, so slightly warmer. Defensive predictions for the Bills. I want to see. I don't know. And we're going to get into the injury report right after this, and we'll talk a little bit more about why I can't give a fair defensive prediction because of all the guys that are up in the air right now. I'm both offense and defense. I just know that on offense, Josh Allen's playing, Stephon Diggs is playing, Gabriel Davis is most likely going to play, so that doesn't really change my offensive predictions. Dawson Knox looks like he's probably going to play, so we'll see there. I agree also with Sonny saying I want to get him going. He doesn't have a touchdown yet, which is kind of surprising. And he hasn't been being used a ton in the offense either. For the money they gave him, I don't know if something's not working out there. They're not seeing something, or they're just game planning differently. But I have to imagine he's winning and getting open. And I've seen it on some plays. A lot last game because I had him to score a touchdown. I put a bet down for him to score a touchdown, and he didn't. So I was watching him on every play that's close to the red zone. That being said, defensive predictions for the Bills, it's going to depend on who's healthy at corner and who's in the game at corner. From what I'm seeing, they're saying that Dane Jackson will probably be back. Taron Johnson is there, of course. Cam Lewis will be playing, a guy I really like, UB alum. I've always been rooting for him, and I think he plays fairly well, replacement level, at least slightly above replacement level when he comes in. Micah Hyde clearly not playing. He's on the season-ending IR. It looks like Jordan Poyer's going to be back. That's really important. I was actually surprised he missed the last game, so I'm definitely not surprised that he'll be making this game. I would definitely bet on him playing in this game. Hopefully, betting on him playing this game. Who else is out? Jordan Phillips is out, I believe it sounds like. Ed Oliver is in. That's huge, having Ed Oliver in there, a guy that's kind of smaller but can win at the contact point and is able to be a little bit quicker and faster and more athletic to be able to keep up with Lamar or at least try to push him out of the pocket. If you're going to push him out of the pocket and not be able to maintain him in the pocket, you open up opportunities for Matt Milano to get in the backfield. I mean, I've been to get in the backfield. Hopefully Matt Milano doesn't get posterized like the 2 times ago when we played Lamar at home. That was kind of weird, but when he had his broken ankles. But either way, I expect decent defensive showing on both sides. I don't expect anybody to be too bad, but like I said, it's really a boom or bust week with the weather. They're either going to play really well or play really bad. So let's hope ours plays really well. Sonny, what do you think about the defense?
I think with what we put on the field last week against Miami, I think with having 5 starters out really showed the depth of this team. And regardless of who we have out there, Leslie Frazier always has a good game plan. And I think that, we're going to get, Oliver back and hopefully Poyer. And, I think our defense is going to hold our own because Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds can, stuff the sides. And Tremaine Edmonds is fast enough to, cut the edge and Milano, as well. So I think our defense is going to show up. Um, you know, they showed up last week, all banged up and, in the hot weather. So I think our defense is going to show up this time around and, make their presence known early and, send a message to Lamar. I think Ed Oliver, getting him back is huge because, when you have Von Miller on the side and Ed Oliver in the middle, you can't double both of them, so you're going to have to double one of them. So I think one of those 2 guys are going to go off, and, I think we're going to get to Lamar. I predict we're going to get to Lamar maybe 6-7 times, I hope. And then as far as Baltimore's defense, I believe it though. I mean, getting Ed Oliver is huge. I'm confident in his and Von Miller, and they got that D line. They're gonna eat. And I look for I predict 6 sacks on Lamar. Yeah, it's probably wishful thinking, but I believe in our defense. With the Ed Oliver is just a big piece of that. And
if we have 6 sacks against Lamar, I would think we're probably blowing him out. Probably.
Yeah. But as far as the Ravens defense, they have given up a lot of points and yards. So I'm not too deathly worried about their secondary, and they don't get a lot of pressure with their front four. So I look to them, to play it, with the crowd and everything. I look for them to have a decent start, but then I think the Bills are going to just overpower them, and Josh Allen just going to eat them alive. And they haven't fixed their defense. They're bottom half beaters of the league. So in passing anyway. So I like the Bills. In this one, I think the Bills defense shows up. I think we hold Baltimore to 10 or less points, and I think we're going to win big. And I'm just confident. I just have a feeling that we're gonna show out on defense.
Gotcha. Well, now we'll jump into the injury report to kind of touch a little bit more on that and see what we got going into the game. So Ryan Bates was a full practice, no injury designation. He'll be there back, and that's good. I'll go with the guys that are back first, and then we'll jump into the guys that are questionable, and then we'll go to the guys. We'll start with the guys that are out, then questionable, then back. So the guys that are out first, Christian Benford he had a hand broken metacarpal. It looked like, which is it looks seriously if you look at what the injury is, but it's actually something you can come back from like 2 or 3 weeks, probably longer for receivers. But in cornerback, you would think too. But as long as they can defend effectively, interceptions are great. But if you can defend, and just stop pass from happening and getting in yards, that's good too. So Christian Benford he didn't practice all week. He's out, of course, so he's out. Next guy that's out, we have Jake Kumaro with high ankle sprain, I believe it was. Might have been an ankle sprain. Did not practice all three days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and he was out. The last guy that's out, Jordan Phillips, of course, didn't practice all week with the hamstring after chasing down the quarterback. He is out. Other guys that are questionable. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 7 guys that are questionable. The first guy is Gabe Davis. Limited in Wednesday, then did not practice on Thursday. Probably more of a rest thing than not being able to physically go. And then limited on Friday. But people are saying they think he's probably going to play. So that's good. Gabe is going to play. At least that's what it says. Dane Jackson. He had the neck injury, of course. That was scary. But, of course, it's happened. It's good to see that he's coming back. Limited all throughout practice for the week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Coming up questionable, but people are saying they think he's going to play. Dawson Knox, another guy, people are saying they think he's going to play. Limited all week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Questionable, though. Next questionable guy, we got Mitch Morse, limited all week, but people are saying they think he's going to play. Justin Murray, offensive line, they did say that they think that he may not play. He was limited all week, and it's possible he may not play, but we will see. The second to last guy, is Ed Oliver, limited, but it looks like he's going to play. We already know that. Questionable still, regardless. Jordan Poyer limited all week, but questionable to play. People are saying they think he's going to play. It's a big game for him to play, of course. Um, so, my take on the injury report: it's more severe than the Ravens is. Not any like huge names out for the Ravens that I'm seeing. A lot of their guys are going to be playing. They're going to be back, and we just got to beat them. Our injury report: I'm not happy with it. Of course, I'd like to see all of our guys, all 53, healthy and ready to play. But for where we're at, having Benford out, but having Jackson back, that's good, of course. And you've got Cam Lewis, and you're going to have Jordan Poyer back in, who's going to be able to help over the top regardless. So that's that. Jake Kumaro being out, it hurts, but there's guys there that can step up. Everybody else is playing for the most part, other than, of course, Jordan Phillips. I'd love to have Jordan Phillips in this game, but it's just not going to happen. I think that we're shooting more for next week, possibly even the week after. So we will see. And then, of course, there is another name that's not mentioned on the actual official injury report, but that's Xavier Rhodes. And he came into practice, and he was fine the first day, and it looked like he was catching up, maybe a little slow, a little winded, but he hasn't played, of course, and didn't go through a training camp. And the second day, he tweaked his hamstring, chasing out a pass. So he's hurt. And it looked like McDermott might have actually had him play, even with the limited knowledge of the playbook, but being his own corner, that McDermott was going to let him play. But now it looks like it's setting him back a week or two. So we'll probably expect him back. Oh, my God. Next week's week 4, week 5. Probably back for the Chiefs game, it looks like, which would be exactly when we want him back. And I'm hoping that's also the time that Trey White's coming back on the field. So we will see at that point. It'd be awesome to get Xavier Rhodes and then Trey White like the same week, and then have Dane Jackson. And by that time, you probably got Christian Benford back. Then you're stopped in the stable. You're good to go. You're good to move forward. It sucks. I don't wish it would ever happen, but if it did have to happen, I would have wanted it to happen after like week 8 or 9, when the schedule gets so cushy that, like, knock on wood, but I'm hoping we don't lose a game for the rest of the year after that. We will see. What's your take on the injury report here, Sonny? You got anything you want to say about that?
I think that the injury report is, I believe, Dane Jackson, after seeing the horrific, injury that he endured by, getting by that Tremaine Edmonds hit. I thought if that was done, I thought he was done, the way his neck bent like that. And I watched most of my games at home on the satellite. Obviously tomorrow it's going to be on TV again. So, but yeah, not a lot of Bills fans in Alaska. I think I'm one of probably maybe a couple hundred, I would say. But yeah, with the injury report, I think Dane Jackson coming back is going to help, and definitely Jordan Poyer. He's a baller, and I feel he's going to affect what we're doing. Having him back is going to be huge. Ed Oliver, and I think that having those guys back, it's just going to be pay dividends for tomorrow's game. And like I said, I believe the Bills defense is going to show up and just dominate, and the guys are going to eat up, do what they do all the time, and just good after Lamar Jackson. But having Dane and Ed Oliver and Jordan back is going to be huge. I wish Jordan Phillips was playing too as well, because I just love him. I mean, I wish he would have never left, but I'm glad he's back with us. And another guy that not injured, but I wish he would get a little more time is Shaq Lawson. I'd love to see him play a little bit more.
I think he's been doing pretty. I think Shaq Lawson, since he's came back, has been pretty well when he's been on the field. So I think he will start to gain more opportunities, especially as the season goes on. Guys do unfortunately get injured and get tired, and like maybe taking more snaps for a guy like Von Miller when we get closer to the playoffs and lock up the division in like week 15, and maybe get some rest and get some more Shaq Lawson reps in there. Hopefully it's not another Shaq Lawson, earning his time here and then leaving again. But that's kind of what guys come here to get better and then get a good deal, and then they head back here eventually. So, but yeah, either way, that's also my conclusive take. I know that Sonny, or Apex, says Sonny makes predictions like Tommy. I gotta be. It's his first show here. You got to be fair to that. And what they're saying when they say that is Tommy does make bad predictions. He tends to know little about football and the Bills. So that is obviously a dig at Sonny and Tommy as well. So either way, Apex is out. So he said he's got to head out. Great show. Thanks, Apex. Appreciate it. Now we're going to jump into another segment, one of our last segments actually, and that is going to be wrapping it all together. We are going to give our score predictions and our star of the game to watch out for, and then I'll give my last 3 betting picks, and we will wrap up for the night. So my prediction for the game, I have the Buffalo Bills winning 28-24. It's going to be a closer game than people think, I think. I thought the same last week, and unfortunately, I was even off. I had the Bills winning in somewhat of a blowout fashion. I think it was a 2 possession, maybe a slight 3 possession win. Um, and I think it might have been a 2 possession now I think about it. But I said it'd be close up until halftime, and the Bills would pull away. It was fairly close up until halftime, but the Bills just did not pull away, unfortunately. And I expected it, but it didn't happen. However, this week I've got the Bills 28, Ravens 14, or 24, not 14, 28-24. The Ravens are a solid team. Like, yes, they've got their deficiencies on defense, but they've got Lamar at the helm, and in my opinion, he's playing like a top 5, maybe even a top 3 quarterback right now with Allen, of course, and maybe like I don't know, you pick there probably like Rodgers or you know Mahomes maybe, but yeah, I think they're going to score and they're going to score points. I'm not saying our defense is bad. It's just the Ravens have some really good pieces on offense. They've got the best tight end in the league right now, next to maybe Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, and they've got Rashad Bateman, who is emerging as a young star in this league, and Lamar Jackson, who is a star in this league and former MVP winner, and probably going to be pushing Allen for it this year. They're going to be competing for it this year. The numbers he's got so far. So 28-24, but the Bills pulled on top with a late field goal. Or no, I'm sorry, touchdown. It's going to be 4 touchdowns for the Bills. No field goals tomorrow, not in the rain. Which almost makes me want to adjust my score from 24 to 21, but I'm going to stick with 24. They got Justin Tucker, the best field goal, best kicker in the league, maybe the best kicker in the history of the league, who's kicking for them. So they'll get a field goal down if they want one. But it'll prove costly when they take that field goal over the touchdown attempt because the Bills are going to win by 4 points. So, Sonny, and my star of the game to watch out for. My star of the game is actually an underrated star. My star of the game, it's not so much underrated, but it's not Josh Allen. It is Stephon Diggs. I think he's going to want to prove people wrong in Maryland as he does when he goes back home. I'm sure he's got to have a lot of family at this game. And I've got Lamar. Hopefully not Lamar. I've got Stephon Diggs catching something like 10 or 11 passes for 160 yards and a touchdown or two, tearing it up. So, Sonny, what is your take? What's your prediction on the game score-wise? A little explanation on that, and then your star of the game to watch out for.
My score prediction is 38-17 to Buffalo. I think they get off to a big start and force Lamar Jackson to pass the football. That's the only way I believe they're gonna attack. I think they're gonna get off to a hot start and want to get off to a hot start, score a couple of touchdowns, make Baltimore have to pass the football. So my prediction is 38-17 Buffalo. The reason why I picked that, I give the Ravens 17 is because they do have Lamar Jackson, but I believe our offense is better. We have more weapons. It's going to get, Gabriel Davis. I think our offense is just gonna eat. And my star of the game is gonna be Gabriel Davis. I think he's gonna come out hungry. He hasn't played, so I think he's gonna come out. If he plays, he's gonna have a big game. He wants to make a statement, and I think that's my star of the game to watch out for. Gabriel Davis. I think he's gonna have well over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. I say give him maybe 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I look for him to be the star of the game tomorrow, and because they're definitely going to be worried about Stephon Diggs, but I believe Gabriel Davis is going to, benefit off of that a lot.
Gotcha. Okay, well, we both got the Bills winning, and as Apex said, that you make predictions like Tommy. You said 38-17. Tommy said 34-17. So hopefully between your pick and my pick, we're end up somewhere in the middle there, and the Bills win comfortably. So I got a closer game. You've got a bit more of a blowout. Hopefully we meet up in the middle. Well, hopefully we end up at your score with the blowout, but at the least end up in the middle, and we have a good comfortable Bills win we can feel good about going into a home game against Pittsburgh, where we're going to romp them next week and go from there, of course. So my picks for the week. I usually do 3 picks and a parlay once in a while. I'm going to do 3 picks, and then because of how confident I am in the picks, I'm going to parlay those picks. So, first pick, Buffalo Bills minus 164 on the money line. If you put $20 on that, that's going. We'll go with 10. That's a better unit. You put $10 on that, it pays out $6 in profit. So you put $100 on it, pays out $60 in profit. Second pick for the week. That is the Los Angeles Chargers. Another game at 1:00, playing and facing off at and in against the Houston Texans. They are minus 250 on the money line. So you put $100 on that, you're not getting as much back. You're getting $40 back for that. $10 will pay you back $4. So one that you'd want to kind of pair with another game, maybe the Bills game. My third pick is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a good game. It's going to be a Sunday night game. Probably the best primetime game we've had yet, other than the Bills game, matchup-wise. And that's Kansas City Chiefs at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady versus Mahomes. Good game. So if you put in the Bucs are slight favorites to win that, I believe. Very slight, minus 160 116 for the Bucks. And I believe it's minus 108 for the Chiefs. So very close. But $10 pays out 862. However, if you put these all together and you parlay them, then you get plus 319 on the odds. You put $10 on that, you're getting out $32 in profits. You put $100 on that, and you're getting out $320 in profit. I'm taking all those picks personally, right here. See, I'm taking all the picks. I don't know if you can see it because the light doesn't seem to want to cooperate. Okay, you can see. There you go. Either way, I'm making the picks. I pick on FanDuel. Pick wherever you want. FanDuel's got a lot of good promotions, though, if you want to bet for free, essentially. A lot of risk-free betting, which is basically, put a bet on this in this certain way, where maybe you pick 2 or 3 different picks and you have us over a certain odd, and we will give you the money back if your bet loses. So, that being said, I am going to go ahead and sign off tonight. So is Sonny. Sonny, anything you want to tell the folks before we head out tonight?
I just want to thank you for Mafia Sports Report for having me. I'm appreciative for the opportunity, and I had a lot of fun. And I'm excited for tomorrow's game, and I'm definitely going to be hooping and hollering and cheering the mighty Bills on. And let's go to 3-1 tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it. I agree. Go Bills for tonight. That is all. Follow us up on Twitter at JDon'tFade. Sonny, if you want to give your tag on Twitter real quick.
I actually don't have a Twitter account, but I
doesn't have a Twitter yet. We're going to work on it, folks.
We're going to work on it.
Well, go Bills from Buffalo to Alaska. Have a good night, folks.